Let's dive in more to the masculine and feminine energies. It's just kind of a review of that polarity and that interplay of masculine and feminine. The feminine, on the other hand, is done to and penetrated. Right? We can think about just that physically, emotionally, and the feminine is externally validated through praise, through desire, through recognition. So, is how do we lead our feminine partner back into her feminine? Neediness and emptiness repulses. Is fullness and abundance that attracts the feminine. Again, this kind of I just got back home today, shaved and showered just before I got on this call. I practiced while I was out in nature, just being in my senses. Let's dive in more to the masculine and feminine energies. It's just kind of a review of that polarity and that interplay of masculine and feminine. Is that I'm using two screens here, so I got to get my cursor back. There we go, where I can scroll through my notes. The masculine does. It penetrates. The masculine thrives on challenge. That's just the greatest thrill for the masculine to rise up and meet a challenge. This is something really, really cool to think about. The masculine is internally validated through masterful action. Think about this. When you've done something really well and you know you did it well, you feel good, right? You don't need anybody to notice. You don't need to brag. You don't need an applause. You feel good. If you've been procrastinating on something and you just sat down and you got it done, you hammered it out, you checked it off the list, that feels good, right? Nobody has to even know. It felt good to you because it's internally validating. Now, the masculine meets the demands and challenges of life and then rests in nothingness. Now, we're going to talk a little bit. That's different than just being still and being filled by nature or being filled through our senses. Nothingness is really that. That's why, for example, if you think about most meditation masters, with the idea of just stilling the mind and body to just nothing, right? It's all men. I mean, yeah, there are women that teach meditation, but it's usually not about being in nothingness. That's a masculine desire. Okay. And the masculine in its purest form is fundamentally needless and wantless. Right. The masculine doesn't have to go out looking to get its needs met. It is what meets the needs of the feminine. And we're going to come back to that. The feminine, on the other hand, is done to and penetrated. Right? We can think about just that physically, emotionally, and it thrives on connection and the flow of love. Masculine thrives on challenge, feminine thrives on this flow of love through connectedness. And the feminine is externally validated through praise, through desire, through recognition. So, when we're wanting people to notice us, when we want to be liked, when we want to be valued, when we want to, have the applause, that's actually our feminine side. Now, I hope you understand we all have masculine and feminine side, and one is not better than the other. They just play very distinct roles, and the polarity creates a really unique interplay. But the part of us that wants approval and external validation, that's our feminine side. And again, that's okay. We all have a feminine side. The feminine is everything in the cosmos. It's not nailed down. Like I often say, women, dogs, cats, money, adventure. Last week's lesson, the key points were feminine is by nature vulnerable. The feminine is an empty bucket seeking to be filled. That's true in us and in women. In all creatures, the feminine is that empty bucket with a hole in the bottom. And everything that goes in goes out as fast as it comes in. And the feminine is a great teacher, not usually in the ways we, as in our masculine form, want to learn, but the feminine is a beautiful teacher. So I got 10 minutes. Let me hit some questions that have been asked over the last week since I talked about it. The questions I want to talk about. If money is feminine, how can I attract it? Can you give too much to the feminine? How do you nurture your own feminine? And can you be in both your masculine and feminine at the same time? And then I really want to hone in on what is junk food feminine. I know that sounds weird. And what is a junk food feminine purge or cleanse? So let me hit on those, and we can come back to these during Q&A. If there's questions I leave unanswered. One question that nobody's asked about that I'd love to have somebody ask me about is, how do we lead our feminine partner back into her feminine? Most women nowadays spend majority of their time in their masculine. They're not open, receptive, not wanting to follow or be led. How do you lead a partner into their feminine? So somebody can ask me that later if you want. Okay. If money is feminine, how do you attract it? This call was asked on the Brotherhood call last week. All right. Paradoxically, emptiness does not attract. I know space abhors a vacuum, but when it comes to the feminine, neediness and emptiness repulses. Is fullness and abundance that attracts the feminine. Again, this is kind of paradoxical. I teach guys this in dating. If you approach a woman as a guy needing her validation, wanting her to fill you up, she will be repulsed by that. And that's why so many nice guys say, women just aren't attracted to me. No, wrong answer. Women just aren't attracted to a needy, empty guy wanting to be validated by a woman. Feminine's going to push that away every time. Money works the same way. And again, this is kind of counterintuitive. You think, well, to really, you have to have money to make money, right? You have to have a lot to get more. But the truth is, money's not really the issue. Money's a metaphor related to a sense of abundance or fullness, right? I see hands go up. Let's save questions for Q&A when we come back a little bit later on, okay? So if we're in a place of neediness and deprivation, I'm poor, I got to get more money, I'm going to get out of this, it almost guarantees we stay in that state. We're going to keep attracting that state. But when we can go into a place of abundance and gratitude and a place of fullness, all of a sudden we start noticing we have what we need, right? We have what we need. Now, if we think, I won't be happy to have millions in my bank account, well, you're probably never going to be happy. But if you can be happy in the present moment, and most of what I'm going to teach you about filling our feminine involves being in the present moment, right? And being in a place of fullness and abundance and gratitude. So paradoxically, if you want to attract money, you have to do it from a place of abundance and fullness and a sense of completeness, a sense of, I already have all that I need. And then lo and behold, more goodies flow. They're actually there all the time. We just aren't in a place to see them because we're in our state of deprivation. So get into a place of abundance. All right. Another question got asked on the call last week. Can you give too much to the feminine? No. Feminine is a big empty bucket with a hole in the bottom. It's true in us. It's true in women. It's true in kids. It's true in everything. You can't give too much to the feminine. The feminine, it lives in a state of demand. Now, if you're husbanding your own feminine or husbanding a feminine creature in your life, a woman, a child, you can teach them to trust your own feminine, a child, a woman, if they know you will consistently be available to them over time. They will learn to trust that even when you're not giving to them in every moment, they can learn to be in their higher feminine and wait for you to give. But that trust takes time and it takes consistency. So, no, you can never give too much of the feminine. The nature of the feminine is need, it's demand, it's not enough. And again, that's true in us and it's true in feminine creatures. Right. So, how do you nurture your own feminine?
Hey, I'm Dr. Robert Glover. In case we haven't previously crossed paths, I'm the author of No More Mr. Nice Guy and the founder of Integration Nation, a worldwide community for men. I hope you're enjoying this clip from a recent live Integration Nation call. If so, I encourage you to check out the Integration Nation YouTube channel, where you will find tons of videos, including lessons I teach and interviews I do on these weekly calls. I also publish YouTube shorts, all raw and uncensored. After you've poked around our YouTube channel, go check out Integration Nation at integrationnation.net. With that, I'm in. Back to the video.
The way I define this is, since the feminine is receptive, feminine is done to, feminine is penetrated. Anything that involves consciously receiving is going to be nurturing to our feminine. Right? It's going to fill that bucket inside of us. Now, this could be our core survival needs, just getting enough food, shelter, enough sleep, basic needs. Giving those things, surrounding ourselves with those things is filling of our feminine. It can be through sensual fulfillment. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. Using our senses, sight, sound, taste, hearing, to fill the feminine bucket. And as I said, the feminine is most activated through connection and flow of love. That means being able to connect with other people in intimate, vulnerable ways fills the bucket. Now, ironically, we men usually think that's going to happen with women. And ironically, it doesn't. Most women are not going to fill us. We have to do that from our own masculine side. And I found I do that connecting with men. I come away from connection with men feeling the most filled, the most nurtured, the most satisfied, the most loved. Honestly, I don't feel that way all that often with women. Maybe you guys do. But most experiences I listen to men talk about their experiences with women aren't one of, man, I just feel nonstop love from this woman. It never goes away. It never disappears. It never gets called into question. No, that's not our experience. That's why we connect with the masculine for that flow of love. And so I talk about husbanding our own feminine. That's where the masculine part of ourselves makes sure our feminine needs are a priority. Now, again, these could be the core needs of just what we need to survive. And if you've done a workshop with me, you've heard me talk about cooperative reciprocal relationships, CRRs. These are the resources we surround ourselves with. We're responsible for getting our needs met, but we can't do it by ourselves. We need a team. We need a posse. We need a tribe, a community to help us get our needs met. That's why we built Integration Nation. We need a community to get our needs met. We need to invite people into our life who want to help us get our needs met, not people that just want to take from us. And we have to create the space to receive. Think about this for a minute. Another person, man, a woman, the world, the cosmos, God, if that's how you believe, cannot give you more than what you're open to receiving. And I found for most of us, learning to receive takes practice. We have to actually practice giving to ourselves and letting other people give to us without pushing it away. No, 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 that's okay. That's all right. I'm good. I'm good. We have to consciously ask people to give to us and let them once they do. And people they get pleasure out of giving to us if we'll let them. Other things we can do to fill our feminine bucket up. Practices such as yoga, walking, resting, listening to music, reading good books. These are all things that can be fulfilling and really fill ourselves. Now, usually they take time, usually some downtime, usually slowing down, getting out of our masculine doing, and just slow down and read a good book. Take a walk in nature. Have a conversation with someone you care about. And as I said, practice receiving sensually. I was out camping these last few days since Monday. Just got back home today, shaved and showered just before I got on this call. I practiced while I was out in nature, just being in my senses: touch, taste, smell, sight, sound. Of what sounds did I hear in nature? What were the smells? What were the textures of it? How was my food that I ate? How did it feel lying in my hammock? What was it like going for a walk? I just really tuned into my senses. But that takes time usually. And often we have to get away from our normal spaces where we have all of our routines. Because when we're in those spaces, we're always, in a routine. And we don't feel, right? We don't feel. How many of you, first thing when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up in the middle of the night, actually feel how good the sheets feel against the skin of your legs? How good it feels to rub the soles of your feet together. Do you ever do that? I get great pleasure out of rubbing the bottom of my feet together. I get great pleasure out of waking up and feeling the 600 thread count sheets that have been cooled by the air conditioner on my skin. It's sensual. It fills me. It feels really good. I love reading good fiction. I love eating a good meal. I love just being, out in nature and just letting that fill me. All right. There was another question. Could we be in our masculine and feminine at the same time, just quickly? Yeah. When we're highly conscious, the flow between feminine and masculine is seamless and they can support each other. I put pictures on the timeline today. My masculine hung a hammock between two trees so my feminine could climb in the hammock and enjoy it. Now, I actually had to set a timer for myself for 15 minutes because if I didn't set a timer, my mind would go, I'd check my phone. Is it time to get out of the hammock yet? I had to actually say, no, I'm going to relax in this hammock until the timer goes off. And it actually took about 15 minutes where I noticed my breathing slowing. I got more relaxed. I was truly hearing the sounds around me. I was truly enjoying being in the hammock. It took 15 minutes. So give yourself time to do this. Okay. Junk food feminine. My definition of junk food feminine is anything that is a substitute for the stuff we just talked about, right? Being connected, flow of love, being in the moment, being in our senses, surrounding ourselves with people that want to help us. That is healthy filling of our feminine bucket. The junk food is junk food. You hear of empty calories, right? The chips, the canned stuff, the Doritos, the Cheetos, all the stuff we like. But it's that empty calorie that doesn't fill us, doesn't satisfy, doesn't nurture us. Now, the problem is that most of us are so unaccustomed to husbanding our own feminine, filling our own feminine bucket in a conscious way, that culture just gives us with all these quick, easy things. Anything that comes out of a bag, out of a box, out of a can, out of a drive-through, all these things that just are just so easy, but they don't really fill us. They don't really satisfy us. Now, this could be junk food. They could be binging on television. It could be surfing the internet, looking at porn, staying in fantasy states, pot, alcohol, social media. I think social media is a plague because it is pure junk food feminine. It gives us the illusion we're connecting, we're bonded, we're joined. It's all bullshit. It is junk food. It's poison. But so many men today spend so much time doom scrolling, on Instagram and Facebook. Why? Does it fill you? Think about this for a minute. After you've spent 3 hours looking at porn and jerking off, do you feel full? You stayed up till 3 in the morning Netflix binging. You're up too late. You're gonna be tired in the morning. You feel good? You spend an hour on social media. I just said somebody got rid of their gaming system. They posted that today as a win. After, doing, World of Warcraft all night and all, into early in the morning. You feel fulfilled from that, right? These are those junk food substitutes that don't fill us, that don't satisfy us, because there's so much better stuff for us. So, what is a junk food feminine purge? What you do is you identify what are some of your junk food feminine. What are you putting in you that poisons you? That doesn't serve you, doesn't nourish you, doesn't feed you? Is it the social media? Is it the porn? Is it the television? Is it the junk food? Is it the alcohol? Is it the pot? Is it the video games? What is it? So you identify those things. And then you decide to take a break from them. No gaming for pick a time, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months. Right? Pick a time that'll actually make you uncomfortable. I'm actually right now in a 90-day no alcohol purge. I don't think I have a drinking problem, but I just kept hearing enough stuff of how alcohol doesn't serve us well. I'll probably drink again in the future, but I want to go 90 days without drinking. I have people I'm accountable to. I've been with my wife and she's been drinking vodka tonics while camping because that's usually what we do. Margaritas, but I'm not drinking. And I just wanted to pay attention. So what you do, pick one or two or three things, depending how radical you want to get with the purge. Decide how much time you're going to go without that thing and go without it. Purge it. Get a posse, some of the people you're accountable to, and let them I check in with, I got some buddies on text. I check in. Yeah, been 60 days without alcohol now. On an airplane, first class, no, didn't drink. In the VIP lounge, didn't drink. Camping, didn't drink. And I don't know that it's made my life better. Certainly hasn't made it worse, but it's just let me be the observer and be the noticer. Now, if you slip, it's just learning information. In all of this, we're going to try to let go of all judgment, all shame, all guilt, and just say, I'm going to set this aside. And in its place, during this purge, consciously add in some of those kind of quality nourishing things I've talked about. Going for a walk, resting in a hammock, listening to music, connecting with friends, being in nature, being in your senses, and practice putting those in to replace the things that you're taking out. And again, no judgment, just being the observer of self.